going to show them how to husk corn the right way. And what is the right way? I'll show you. Well, I only got 2 minutes in my break.
All right. Hello, everybody. This is Jennifer and Grandma Tanner from Tanner's Orchard. We're going to be showing you today how to freeze sweet corn so you can enjoy it all winter long. Grandma has one of the best recipes I've ever had. I know there's many different ways to do it, but this is the easiest she has found. So we'll start now.
A lot of people start peeling a little bit on their corn husk. I split the silks, and make sure you get a hold of them, and then pull them down. Pull your silks right with your husk, and that way you're pulling most of those silks off. Otherwise, you're brushing and trying to get those silks off. See, there's hardly any silks on there.
So what if they're not strong enough to do that? What can they do to make that easier? Is there any other ways to?
They can peel one at a time, one husk at a time,
until they get
down to the. But if you get a hold of those right there at the top, see all those little silks right there? You split that, and you just pull them right off. It's really not. You don't need to have to be too strong. And then I usually, you can just run your fingers, brush your corn like that, and the silks come right off. And I usually do run them under some water. I have a little water here in the sink, and I just rub them with my hands. So now we are ready to cut the corn off the cob. There's lots of different ways. They have all these little gadgets that you can buy, but you can put your ear like this on a cutting board and start it at the narrow. I guess I want to do it inside the pan. You can cut it like that. It's best to have a nice sharp knife, and you just keep turning your.
Now usually when we do this, we do like a whole bin at a time, and we're usually sitting down when we're cutting corn, so it's a little easier when you're sitting down and cutting it than when you're standing up.
Yes. A lot of times I like to sit down and have the pan of corn right on an apple crate, actually. So the other way, you can do it like this. You need a nice sharp knife. I keep my steel right close by, and you just cut about 2 rows at a time. And be sure you don't cut your thumb. If you have a nice sharp knife, it'll just slide right through that corn. So right now we have our corn. You buy 13 ears for $4.99, and you get a baker's dozen 13 free. So I took 26 ears, and our recipe calls for 4 quarts of corn. I actually had about 4.5 quarts of corn out of those 26 ears. And then you put it in a heavy pan like this. You can't have a lightweight pan. You need a heavy pan. And you put 4 teaspoons of salt on it, 1/2 to 3/4 cup water, and then 1/2 cup of sugar. And you just stir it, and you keep stirring until it just barely comes to a boil. All you have to do is heat that corn just a little bit. But here is the difference in the color. This has been cooked, and this is not.
And this is really, you can feel that it's crunchy, and this is nice and soft and warm.
Yes. So I did not cook this much, but that's how much I got off of 2 ears on actually 20, let's see, it was
26 ears.
26 ears. I got all this corn. And I went ahead and cooked it. And if you have, now my mother used to put it in a pan on the floor of the basement and run fans on it. Here at the orchard when we make it, we put it in our big cooler. But you put it in a pan, either aluminum pan does not hold too much heat, or this little stainless steel pan. And you just keep, every once in a while you have to stir it.
You pull it out of the freezer and stir it so it cools down a little quicker.
Yes. So this is the difference in the color right there. And then after it's all cooled, then you can put it in Ziploc bags, mark it, and put it in the freezer.
Enjoy it all winter long.
Enjoy it all winter long, and you can make corn salsa and all different kinds of things with this. When you do get it out to cook it, you do not have to add any water, salt, or anything because it's already there. So what I usually do is let my corn, a lot of times I'll let the bag thaw, and the kids just love it. And then you just put it in a pan and just barely bring it to a boil, and your corn is all done because it's been cooked. So that's about it, but salt, sugar, and water. That's what you need.
Here's the recipe.
I think Jenny will probably post that.
Yep. But it's really easy to do and it's quick. Some people are asking how to freeze the entire corn on the cob instead of cutting it off. I know some people put the whole cob just right in the freezer without doing anything to it. Or you can blanch it, with just dip it in hot water, boiling water, and pull it out, but then you got to cool it down before you put it in your freezer. I know friends of mine have just cut it off the cob and put it in Ziploc bags without doing anything to it. If you do that, you have to cook it a little longer and add a little salt and butter to it.
So what I do is just add butter to this when I'm cooking it, and right before we eat it, we put a little butter over it. And pepper is just a small amount of pepper is good on your corn too. But yeah, so right now for $5, you can get 4 quarts of corn.
On the cob.
On the cob. No, yeah.
It's on the cob. You got to cut it off.
Yes.
But it's a super easy recipe. You just cut it off the cob, put it in a pan, the big pan, add 4 teaspoons salt, 1 1/2 to 3/4 water, cups of water, a 1/2 cup of sugar. Bring it to just a
boil, and you'll be able to tell.
Just when it's bubbling.
The corn will turn this nice bright yellow. This is when I first cut it off, and this is what it looks like after it's
been cooked.
Just a small amount.
And you want to cool it, and the quickest way to cool it is to put it in a pan, a cold pan, and spread it out, and then put it in your refrigerator or freezer and pull it out and stir it for a little bit and put it back in. And once it's been cooled down, you put it in a Ziploc bag and lay it flat in your freezer.
So I'm going to pour the rest of this in here and stick it in the cooler. And it only takes maybe about an hour or so for it to cool. And then you bring it in and you bag it. Now there is a little bit of juice in the bottom, so when you're doing that, you make sure you get a little bit of juice in every bag.
Yeah, you want to make sure. Because one year I didn't put the juice in and it wasn't as good. Grandma Tanner said, I told you. So,
yeah.
Well, all right, everybody. Well, I hope that this helps you and you're able to freeze some sweet corn for this winter. It is a really good recipe. Super easy. Once again, Grandma Tanner, she likes to cook, but she likes to make it easy. So we'll see y'all later. Thank you.